You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Absolutely had to have it, and that's exactly what the Astros got, was a win tonight over the Los Angeles Angels in 10 innings, thanks to Jeremy Pena hitting a laser out there to right field to end the ball game. Welcome into the Locked On Astros Postcast here live on YouTube. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am your host, of course, Michael Connor. If you've not joined us before, please hit the subscribe button tonight as we talk Astros getting that needed win over those Angels and bouncing back from a tough night one night ago. That's exactly what you needed out of this baseball game. Jeremy Pena delivering the game winner there, which is awesome for Jeremy Pena. Everybody loves to see that for him. What he's done this season has been, absolutely amazing. He has been a player that has rebounded from an incredibly difficult season last year, and he's been one of the leading hitters in the American League the entire season. I mean, unbelievable what Jeremy Pena has done this year for this Astros club. To see him grow, to see his at-bats become quality at-bats consistently, and to become a real threat in this lineup. He did have another hit tonight that doubled down the left field line. He's hitting .328 on the year. .328. There's so many good things to talk about tonight. With Kyle Tucker, I mean, just good Lord. Yordan Alvarez hits the ball over the fence. John Singleton, we're going to talk about him as well because he sent another message tonight. I know we have the Abreu issue lingering. We talked a little bit about that last night, but only thing that matters today more than anything, of course, is that they got the win that they needed in a bounce back from last night's tough ball game where Fromber absolutely imploded. This episode today, by the way, is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. So again, Astros getting the 10-inning win over those Angels, a team that they should beat. Now look, in a perfect world, we would be sitting here talking about this Astros team and saying, you should be smoking this team. I mean, you should be getting out there and getting these wins a lot earlier and a lot easier. But it just doesn't always go that way. This is baseball, of course. There are nights where the other team does a lot of good things. Or, they go up against your starter, who, by the way, tonight, Christian Javier didn't look very good. The velocity was down. The four runs in his four. He didn't look good. Didn't look sharp. He's looked good in one start. He's looked bad in two others. I don't know what to make of Christian Javier and his return. This kind of happened last year too. Now, he didn't have the injury aspect to it, but last year, remember, he started really well last year. And then he just disappeared. He became terrible. I don't know if he's necessarily going to become terrible all of a sudden, but, the early results back from the injured list aren't the most encouraging thing. 2 out of the 3 aren't very good. I just didn't like the look of anything tonight. They need him. We all know that they need him. That he can't be terrible. But it's like ever since the World Series in 2022, he's just never completely stayed the same guy the entire time. He comes back out next time, battles back, looks a lot better. Maybe you'll feel better about it. You won't have to worry about it so much. So I was going to do a little bit more on him tonight, but given that the Astros got a good comeback win, and there's a lot of other aspects to this baseball game I'd like to talk about, I just wanted to mention him early in it that, it just really was not an encouraging night overall for him. Excuse me. I feel like I'm about to sneeze here all of a sudden. Hopefully I don't. But it just was not his best of night out there on the mound. Plain and simple. They need better out of him. They need more length out of him. He's never been a guy that's going to give you 7 innings at a time. I think he's more of the 6-inning guy, and if he gives you 7, great. He just works counts too much. He's not the most efficient pitcher when it comes to working counts, and he'll get swing and miss and all that, but just not going to get those outs quickly and at bats. But that's okay. They do all right tonight. The other guy in the pitching side of it that It happened again tonight. You know what? We're just gonna get the things that bugged me and annoyed me in the baseball game out of the way tonight. Here's what I loved on the pitching side. I loved Taylor Scott with 2 innings of work. He's been a great addition. I liked that Ryan Presley came out and had a scoreless inning, and I absolutely loved watching Josh Hader toss 2 innings with 4 strikeouts and doing it in that second inning with a runner, of course, on second and nobody out and mowing through the Angels lineup. I mean, he let them hang out there tonight on the mound, and that is all that you can ask out of Josh Hader. He's finally starting, in my opinion, to round into form. He looks like the guy that has been, historically one of the best closers in his stretch. That, there haven't been a lot of guys that had the stretch of years that he's had as a closer. Absolutely incredible stuff for Josh Hader again to go out there and do this tonight. It was awesome. They needed it. And he's looking like himself every single time he goes out there. Period. I love that. What I didn't love was Ryan Abreu going and doing what he did again tonight. And that's be a guy that I can't trust. I just don't know what it is. He's gone out there and he has been bad. He never has clean innings. He never goes out there and consistently throws the fastball over the middle of the plate. He's had some outings recently where he's looked better. But overall, Brian Abreu of late has just not been very good. And I don't understand what has happened. You can have a bad year, you can have an off year, whatever it might be. But nothing that he's doing is working right now. And, I got the one tweet during the game or whatever. You mean the pop-up that fell into the crowd? Okay. The pop-up went over the fence. It might have been a pop-up at most ballparks. Guess where he wasn't pitching? Most other ballparks. He was pitching in Minute Maid Park tonight, and he gave a shot to left field that cleared the fence. When he comes to the mound, I don't have any faith right now. He's kind of blowing it away. I don't know if he can win me back. He'd have to go on like a 2-month stretch of pitching like he did last season to get me to think that all of a sudden, yeah, you know what? Brian Abreu's starting to turn the corner. His stuff looks a lot better. I'm telling you, he can't command the fastball half the time. Then he gets the slider to work. The slider's been pretty good for him when he uses it. But tonight, he's over there shaking off sliders and throwing meatballs. It's simple as that. It doesn't matter if it barely got over the fence. It got over the fence. He's got to be better than that. And Ryan Presley's been better lately, I think, overall than Abreu has been. He's a pretty solidified in being the eighth inning guy here at this point. But I'm telling you, if there's some leverage situations right now in this moment, Brian Abreu's not near the top of my list of who you want to come in the baseball game. It's just annoying. It's really, really annoying because you see how good he can be. Now, it could be as simple as the mechanics are not very good. It is what it is. Maybe those mechanics aren't great. Maybe they're out of whack this year. He just can't put it all together. But it's got to be better than what it's been to have the Astros, do what he's doing out there on the mound. We got the negative out of the way. The stuff that bugged me tonight. Let's be happy again. Let's be happy about a man that is playing at a level that, honestly, I thought we all know he's capable of playing at this level, but maybe even further than you ever expected him to play at this level. And that man is Kyle Tucker after I tell you about this brief message. So I need to tell you right now about LinkedIn. Yes, that's right. LinkedIn. Are you struggling to close deals? Business to business selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drives revenue, and increases sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. It's fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform. Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/locked on. That is linkedin.com/locked on for a 60-day trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/locked on to get started. Welcome back to the Locked On Astros Postcast tonight. Following the Astros 10-inning win over the Angels, baby. That's right. If you're new to the channel tonight, please hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to this on podcast, go find Locked On Sports Houston on YouTube and hit the subscribe button there. This show is available free wherever you get your podcast. Just search for the Locked On Astros show. You'll get this show and the Locked On Astros show. The Astros now 22-27 with the win tonight. I was going to pull up my standings and my scores in the American League West real quick. The Rangers, fell to the Phillies tonight, so the Astros gain a game there, and the Mariners unfortunately beat the Yankees. So the Mariners, that's 2 nights in a row, the Mariners, and they came back in last night's game and won that one. So no ground gained on the Mariners tonight, but that's okay. You gain a little bit on Texas. You do not mind that. The Astros are now just 2 games back of the Rangers in the American League West. The guy tonight that stands out, now look, I know Jeremy Pena hit the game winner, and I want to talk about everybody between Singleton and Yordan and this guy. But, Kyle Tucker is playing at a level that is MVP-ish. He got an MVP chance out there in right field tonight, and it's deserved. He is hitting so far this season. I'm just pulling up Kyle Tucker now after tonight. 293, 17 home runs, which leads Major League Baseball, 36 runs batted in, a 425 OPS, or a 425 on base, and a 1074 OPS. He is having the most monster of monster years. He's tied for the franchise record for most home runs through the first 49 games of a season with, I think it was Morgan Ensberg and maybe Lance Berkman. I know Morgan Ensberg was in that list. But still, he's just been unbelievable. And I think if you put down the ballot in the American League right now, I'd be hard-pressed to not have him number 1. I'm not going to make it all about this, but each day that passes, the more and more stats you keep allowing the player to put up, the more his bargaining chip for himself is better. And the Astros have made a mistake in the past of not signing guys. They've made a mistake so far of not taking care of his contract. You're seeing more and more evidence by the day as to why you need to quit farting around and you need to get it done. You need to call his agents. I think it's Casey Close with CAA, I believe. And you need to get in there and hammer this thing out. This is one of the best players, not only on your team, not only in the American League, but in all of baseball. And he's maturing into a different level of player than we have seen his career. And his career so far has been great. He's been captain consistent. He's gone 30 home runs, 29 home runs in his 3 full years. He busted out, of course, in that COVID year finally and played well. And then since then, he's been everything that he was supposed to be as the highly touted prospect that he was. He's a cornerstone piece. He is a piece that you should be willing to break your mold of paying guys or whatever. And I got a great tweet from somebody. It's a great reminder again tonight that the Astros need to pay him and need to pay him now. And somebody responded, well, if he was 39, they'd have no problem paying him, which is true. They pay these old guys, and I know it's not long-term deals, but they pay these old guys constantly. Whether it was Michael Brantley last year, $12 million, or Jose Abreu and his just atrocity of a contract. They've spent money on old guys. Oh, it's only 2-3 year deals on the and then you do a 10-year deal for a 27-year-old who will be 37 when it's over. You have no problem paying 37-year-olds now. And if you sign him now and you're able to get him for even $5 million less per year than what he'd get on the open market, it's worth it. It's worth it. Because in 5 years, when he's still good, when he's 32 years old, because he'll be good at 32 years old. We're watching Jose Altuve over there at 34 still do his thing. When he's still good at 32, he'll be underpaid. The hoops they jump through to spew the things that they spew in their belief system is at times it's baffling. It does not make any sort of logical sense. So please, I'm begging you. I'm actually begging you for my sanity, because I don't think I can take watching this team let another superstar walk away. I just can't. Especially, I think back on all of them, and I think I'm more confident actually in Kyle Tucker than any of them continuing the trajectory he's on if he were to leave after next season. Because think about it. Correa, I loved Carlos. I would have kept Carlos all day, but Correa had injury history, and when the injuries followed, the performance dipped quite a bit. So, okay, you don't let him go. You look at last year, he wasn't very good for the Twins. His first year there, he was pretty good. Last year wasn't very, just too inconsistent. I get it. And he's playing a shortstop position where he's not going to age necessarily well. He's going to have to come off short at some point. Okay. George Springer. Made a lot of sense. I love George, but George is like 30-something years old or 30 years old. 5-year deal. Okay, you could probably get around with that. But he also was a guy that could be wildly inconsistent, could spend time on the injured list. And look what's happened since he left. He's declined quite a bit. He's not anywhere near worthy of the contract that he honestly signed. He hasn't been that player. He hadn't been the player he was at the Astros with Toronto at all. It hadn't happened. The other one, Garrett Cole, we knew he'd be a monster, and he's been a monster. He's won a Cy Young since he's left. He's been great. That one, but you never knew that. You always knew that wasn't a possibility. They fortunately didn't let Bregman go at the time. They didn't even let him get. They extended him out a little bit. They've done that with Yordan. This is the guy that you do it with. He's, knock on wood, never spends time on the injured list. He's as consistent as they get performance-wise. And he's getting better. He's getting better. Everything about what he does at the plate is better than what it's been. And we are not privy, of course, to the conversations that go on behind closed doors. Maybe they're having those conversations. Maybe it's happening and they just don't want to talk about it. It is what it is. But I'm just saying, and I'm going to keep pushing my thing here. You need to have Kyle Tucker locked up, taken care of. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Period. End of story. Let's talk about the man at first base, the upcoming. We did a little bit of this last night, but I want to give it a little bit more discussion, especially after tonight, where the man at first base, John Singleton, had another big swing at the bat. Had a really good night at the plate overall. We'll discuss him as we start to wind down the Locked On Astros Postcast in just a moment. But right now, it's all about PrizePicks. And if you've not played PrizePicks yet, what are you waiting for? Get the app on your phone right now and get in there on the action with PrizePicks. It makes the games a lot more fun. You're picking more or less on players. Just every kind of option that you could think of, PrizePicks is going to have it. NBA playoffs going on. Big time action there. You got the baseball season in full swing. I know that the soccer season is wrapped up in Europe. Got Champions League coming up, though. You'll have some of that. You got all kinds of action going on the PrizePicks app. You, of course, can, cash in big time, even if you are going to have an injury to your player. PrizePicks even offers injury insurance so that your injuries your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured from baseball games. If you have a player who registers 2 plate appearances or less, PrizePicks will give you back your money and not give you, or will have your back, and not count that as a loss. It's really simple to play. I can make and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. So again, download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's code LOCKEDONMLB when you download the PrizePicks app for a first deposit match up to $100. Our final few moments of the Locked On Astros Postcast tonight. Thank you once again for joining us following an Astros needed win over the Angels tonight. A final of 6-5 over the Angels in 10 innings. Astros now 22-27. If you missed the update on the standings earlier, it's the Astros 5 games out in the division, 2 games back of the Rangers for second place, who have fallen back below 500 at 24-25. Tough scene. But the Astros are a tough scene as well, so I can't say too much about the Astros right now in this very, very moment. One thing I can say is the roster crunch is coming for this team. The roster crunch is absolutely coming. Oh, and by the way, yes, Adam, you're right. My boy Cole Palmer is going to have a very big role in the Euros. There's our soccer portion of the show. I got to get my Chelsea love in. Had to get rid of another manager today, but you know what? At least we got Cole Palmer. The Astros, though, have a roster crunch coming up. You saw today they sent Trey Cabbage back down. He didn't get a lot of run. He hit the ball hard when he played, which was a little bit intriguing. But they send him down because Chaz McCormick comes back. You can't write Chaz McCormick off because he was so great last year. He was really good the year before, really consistent. I mean, he's also got one of the most famous catches in Astros, probably the most famous catch in Astros history, right? In that World Series in 2022. I'm telling you that of all the sports, I've been in the building for a lot of unbelievable Astros moments for basically everything in the postseason during this run. And it's between, there's 3. There's 3 for me that in person, I can remember the feeling that I had. It was the Springer home run off of Darvish in Dodger Stadium in Game 7. I was sitting next to Chris Gordy, who does the Locked On SEC show, and I told him at the time, I go, Springer's hitting a home run here, and he walloped a home run, and then just that life being sucked out of Dodger Stadium that early in the game was just so awesome. There's the Yordan home run, of course, in Game 6. I've never been in a louder atmosphere in my life. And I probably have to add a 4th. Yordan's walk-off against Seattle in that series as well. And then there was Chaz McCormick's catch in Philadelphia. And off the bat, from where I was sitting in the stadium, it looked like it was gone. Like, without a doubt. And he drifted back, climbed that wall, and made that catch. And I am telling you, the just air being let out of the balloon feeling was unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, part of me has a hard time getting on Chaz because of that moment. But then I remember, okay, we have to evaluate this season. And when he's played this year, he's not looked very good. And, look, it's 1 game back tonight. His rehab stint went incredibly terrible. He was awful playing for the Hooks. I think he might have 1 hit in 14 at-bats or something. It was bad. There's been no real hard hit contact when he's played. So all that's to be said is that they're in an outfield that, look, unfortunately, Joey Loperfido is going to get screwed here in a minute when they send when they bring Jose Abreu back up. Loperfido is going to get kicked out. There's just no doubt about that. He's got minor league options. It sucks because he should be playing over Chaz McCormick based on performance so far. And Dubon needs to play based on performance so far. And Jake Myers has played his way into being an everyday center fielder right now. He can't come out of the lineup. And Jake Myers again tonight. What do you have? Another couple hits? His batting average there for a second was over 300. It's still over 3, right? It's 301. Jake Myers went 2 for 3. He was on base 3 times tonight. Jake Myers is an OPS of 902. So the Chaz McCormick situation is interesting. But all that being said is that at first base they're going to bring up Jose Abreu back from the minors. And you're going to be bringing up a player that honestly has no value to this team anymore, unless he comes back and hits. You have to give him the opportunity. But John Singleton tonight took another big swing. Is John Singleton perfect? Absolutely not. Is he a great first baseman? Nope, not by any means. The Astros' first base production is the worst in the league. It's not even close. It's gotten slightly better since he's been there. He's hitting 220-something. But he does get on base at a good clip. He gets on base with a lot of walks. He has a great eye. And honestly, I think they could survive with him hitting around 230 and getting on base at a 320 clip all year and hitting home runs occasionally. They could. And the facts are the facts. There's a big swing out of Singleton tonight. And you know what? I don't know how you bring Abreu back and you tell John Singleton with a straight face, we're going to play the guy that's hitting 099 or whatever. No, what they're going to be telling him is, we're going to play the guy that Jeff Bagwell decided needed to have a bunch of money. And by the way, if you've not seen all the pictures out of Florida, it's just been the Jeff Bagwell party down there. It's been Bagwell sitting along Abreu down there in West Palm Beach trying to fix his swing. Ugh. But they're going to play him based on the contract. I'm telling you, that leash better be super short. Super, super short. Because you would hate it for Singleton if he started sitting a bunch and loses any kind of timing he has, and then he gets into a funk, and that guy's got way more to lose. If he goes into the tank, he's an easy DFA, and the Astros move on to somebody else. So I thought it was another night where John Singleton sent a message that, hey, you know what? I know you're bringing Jose Abreu back up, but I'm going to be a player that's rearing my head, ready to go, and hopefully continues to get the playing time that he deserves. Astros are back at it tomorrow, 1:10 first pitch, Hunter Brown against Tyler Anderson. Of course, even on a day game, we'll be right here with you for the Locked On Astros Postcast. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. Again, join me tomorrow afternoon after Astros and Angels right here on the Locked On Sports Houston page.